Listen to me very carefully. What I am about to tell you could be the difference between building generational wealth and watching opportunity slip through your fingers. I have been investing for decades through rigorous mathematical models and quantitative analysis. I have built systems at Renaissance Technologies that have generated extraordinary returns by identifying patterns others miss. And right now, in this moment, I am seeing something in the silver market that stands out based on the data patterns and fundamentals I have studied across asset classes. This is not hype. This is not some get-rich-quick scheme. This is about understanding where the smart money flows according to objective signals and why you need to pay attention right now. Before I break down exactly what is happening with silver and why the next 12 to 18 months could change everything, I need you to do something for me. If you are serious about your financial future, if you want to learn how to protect your wealth and grow it through disciplined, data-driven approaches, you need to subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that button, turn on notifications, because the information I share here, this is the stuff that separates the winners from the losers. Now, let me tell you what is going on. Silver is not just another commodity. It is not just a shiny metal that sits in a vault. Silver is the most undervalued, underappreciated, misunderstood asset in the entire market right now. And when I say undervalued, I am not talking about a 10% upside or a 20% upside. I am talking about a potential move that could double, triple, maybe even more over the next few years based on the converging signals in supply, demand data, industrial trends, and historical ratios. You want to know why? Because the fundamentals have never been this strong. Let me break it down for you in a way that makes sense. First, supply and demand. This is economics 101, people. When you have more demand than supply, prices go up. It is that simple. And right now, the supply of silver is getting tighter and tighter. We are not discovering new silver mines at the rate we used to. The easy silver has already been mined. The cost to extract silver is going up because you have to go deeper. You have to process more ore, and that means higher production costs. Meanwhile, demand is exploding. And I'm not talking about jewelry demand or investment demand, although those are important. I am talking about industrial demand. Silver is in everything. It is in your phone. It is in your computer. It is in solar panels. It is in electric vehicles. It is in medical equipment. Every single technological advancement we are making as a society requires more silver. Do you understand what that means? It means that as we transition to green energy, as we build more electric cars, as we put solar panels on every roof, we need more and more silver. This is not optional. You cannot build a solar panel without silver. You cannot build an electric vehicle without silver. The demand is structural. It is not going away. Now, here is where it gets really interesting. Gold gets all the attention. Everybody talks about gold. Gold is the safe haven. Gold is the hedge against inflation. I get it. I have seen patterns in gold prices leading others at times. But let me tell you something that most people do not understand. The gold to silver ratio is completely out of whack. Historically, silver trades at about 15 to 1 compared to gold. Sometimes it goes to 20 to 1. Right now we are looking at ratios that are much higher than the historical average. That means silver is cheap relative to gold. If you believe gold is going higher based on the data trends, and the signals suggest it, then silver should go even higher on a percentage basis. This is the opportunity. But let me tell you why I am so convinced this is about to happen now. It is not just about supply and demand fundamentals. It is about what central banks are doing. Look around the world. What do you see? You see governments printing money like it is going out of style. You see debt levels that are absolutely insane. You see inflation that is not going away no matter what the politicians tell you. When I analyze the data, when I look at currency trends, I see prices going up. You see it too. Do not let anyone tell you inflation is under control. It is not. And when you have inflation, when you have currency debasement, when you have governments that cannot control their spending, people look for real assets. They look for things that cannot be printed. They look for gold and silver. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. People have been calling for silver to explode for years, and it has not happened. Why is this time different? Great question. Let me tell you exactly why this time is different. Number one, the industrial demand side is bigger than it has ever been. 20 years ago, we were not building electric vehicles at scale. We were not covering deserts with solar panels. The technology revolution that requires silver is happening right now, not in the future. Number two, we are seeing a shift in how investors think about their portfolios. People are waking up to the fact that you cannot just hold cash and bonds anymore. The returns are not there. The safety is not there. You need hard assets. You need commodities. And silver is one of the best commodities you can own because it's both the investment demand and the industrial demand. Number three, and this is critical, the financial system is more fragile than people realize. We had a banking crisis not too long ago. We saw banks fail. We saw depositors panic. Every time there is a crisis in the financial system, people run to precious metals. It is a pattern that has repeated itself throughout history. And I am telling you, we are not done with financial crisis. The next one is coming. I do not know if it is next month or next year, but it is coming. And when it does, silver is going to be one of the places people rush into. Let me give you some perspective from my own experience. I have analyzed mining companies through quantitative lenses. I understand this sector inside and out from the data. And what I am seeing right now in terms of the setup for silver is extraordinary. The mining companies cannot produce enough. The refiners are working at capacity. The physical market is tight. And yet the price has not reflected this reality yet. That is the opportunity. You want to know what really gets me excited? It is when I see a situation where the fundamentals are screaming one thing, but the market has not caught up yet. That is where you make money. That is where you get in before the crowd. Right now, silver is that opportunity. Most investors are not paying attention. They are chasing the next tech stock or the next crypto coin. They are not looking at the boring stuff, the real stuff, the stuff that actually has value. But I am telling you, the smart money, the sophisticated investors, they are accumulating silver right now. They are buying physical. They are buying mining stocks. They are positioning themselves for what is coming. Now, let me tell you about something that most people do not understand about the silver market. It is one of the most manipulated, most controlled, most misunderstood markets in the world. And that manipulation is coming to an end. When I say manipulation, I am not talking about conspiracy theories. I am talking about the fact that the paper market for silver, the futures market, the derivatives market is many times larger than the actual physical market. You have people trading silver contracts who have no intention of ever taking delivery of physical silver. They are just trading paper. And that paper market has kept the price suppressed for years. But here is what is changing. More and more investors are demanding physical delivery. They do not want a contract that says they own silver. They want the actual metal. And when you have that shift from paper to physical, that is when the price has to adjust to reality. The physical market is much smaller than people think. And if even a fraction of the money in the paper market decides they want real silver, there is not enough to go around. That is when you get a squeeze. That is when prices go parabolic. I have seen this happen in other commodities. I have seen what happens when the physical market gets tight and everyone realizes that the emperor has no clothes. It is not pretty if you are short, but it is beautiful if you are long. Let me talk about the geopolitical situation because this is another huge factor that people are ignoring. Silver is not evenly distributed around the world. The major producers are in Mexico, Peru, China, Australia, Chile. If you have any disruption in those countries, if you have political instability, if you have labor strikes, if you have environmental regulations that shut down mines, the supply gets hit immediately. And we are already seeing this. We are seeing mines struggle with permitting. We are seeing communities push back against mining operations. We are seeing governments in Latin America talk about nationalizing resources. All of this creates supply risk, and supply risk means higher prices. Now I want to talk to you about something that is very close to my heart. Portfolio construction. I have been managing money through quantitative models for a long time. I understand risk management. I understand diversification. And I am telling you, If you do not have exposure to precious metals in your portfolio right now, you are taking on more risk than you realize. Most people think they are diversified because they own some stocks and some bonds. That is not diversification. That is having two different pieces of paper that are both dependent on the same system working. Real diversification means owning assets that are not correlated, assets that perform well when the traditional system is under stress. Silver is one of those assets. When stocks are crashing, when bonds are selling off, when people are panicking about the dollar, silver goes up. It is insurance. It is protection. But here's the best part. Unlike insurance, which costs you money every year, silver has the potential to make you money. It is both protection and profit. That is a rare combination. Let me give you some numbers that will blow your mind. The entire above-ground supply of silver that exists in investable form, we are talking about bars and coins, is estimated to be worth maybe 60 to 80 billion. That is it. Do you know how small that is? There are individual companies worth more than the entire investable silver market. There are tech billionaires who could buy up a significant chunk of the world's silver supply with their personal wealth. The market is tiny, and when a market is that small, it does not take a lot of money flowing in to move the price significantly. If institutions start allocating even 1% of their portfolios to silver, if sovereign wealth funds decide they want exposure, if retail investors wake up and start buying, there is not enough supply to meet that demand at current prices. The price has to go up. It is mathematics. Now, I want to address something I hear all the time. People say, if silver is such a great investment, why is not everyone buying it? Why are not all the smart investors piling in? Let me tell you why. Because most professional investors are paid to follow the herd. They are paid to own what everyone else owns. If they own Apple and it goes down, they can say, well, everyone owned Apple. If they own silver and it does not perform right away, they look like an idiot. So they play it safe. They stick with what is popular. But that is not how you make life-changing returns. You make life-changing returns by seeing what others do not see, by having the courage to be early, by understanding fundamentals that the market has not priced in yet through objective analysis. I built my career on going against the crowd when the data showed I was right. And I am telling you, I am right about silver. Let me talk about the solar industry, because this is a massive catalyst that is just beginning. Every single solar panel requires silver. There is no substitute that works as well. Silver is the most conductive metal. It is essential for the efficiency of solar cells. Now, governments around the world are committed to transitioning to renewable energy. They are spending trillions of dollars on this transition. The European Union has targets. China has targets. The United States has targets. Every developed country is building out solar capacity. Do you know how much silver that requires? We're talking about millions of ounces per year, and that demand is growing exponentially. Right now, solar accounts for a huge portion of silver demand. But as solar deployment accelerates, and it will, that number is going to go even higher. There is no scenario where we hit our climate goals without using massive amounts of silver. This is locked in demand, it is guaranteed, and the supply is not keeping up. The mining industry is not investing in new capacity fast enough. Do you know why? Because for years, silver prices were too low to justify big investments in new mines. It takes years to bring a new mine online. You need exploration, you need permitting, you need financing, you need construction. We're talking about a 5 to 10 year timeline. So even if prices go up today, even if miners decide they want to invest in new capacity, that supply is not coming online for years. That means we have a supply deficit that is going to persist. That means prices have to rise to ration the available supply. This is basic economics, and it is playing out right now. Let me tell you about the electric vehicle story, because this is another demand driver that people are not fully appreciating. Every electric vehicle uses significantly more silver than a traditional car. We're talking about silver in the batteries, in the charging systems, in all the electronics. As the world transitions from internal combustion engines to electric vehicles, silver demand goes up. And this is not a small transition. We're talking about millions of vehicles per year shifting from gas to electric. China is leading the way. Europe is pushing hard. Even the United States is finally getting serious about electric vehicles. Every major automaker has committed to electrification. They are building factories. They're investing billions. This is happening, and every single one of those vehicles needs silver. Now, let me hit you with something that should terrify you if you are not positioned correctly. The currency situation. I have been warning about this through patterns and data for years. When governments print money the way they have been printing money, when they run deficits the way they have been running deficits, there are consequences. You cannot just create money out of thin air forever without destroying the value of that money. We are seeing it now. We are seeing inflation. We are seeing purchasing power decline. We are seeing people struggle to afford basic necessities. And the response from governments: print more money, spend more money, kick the can down the road. This is insanity. And the people who are going to get destroyed by this are the people who hold cash. The people who think their dollars are safe. Your dollars are not safe. They are losing value every single day. You need to protect yourself. You need to own real assets. Silver is one of the best real assets you can own because it has been money for thousands of years. It is recognized as a store of value across every culture, every country, every time period. When fiat currencies fail, and they always do eventually, people go back to precious metals. It is a pattern that has repeated itself throughout human history. Now, let me tell you what separates the people who make money from the people who just talk about making money. It is action. You can have all the knowledge in the world. You can understand every fundamental, every catalyst, every trend. But if you do not act, you get nothing. Zero. So let me give you a roadmap for how to think about silver as an investment and how to actually position yourself to profit from what is coming. First, you need to understand that there are different ways to get exposure to silver. You can buy physical silver. You can buy silver mining stocks. You can buy silver exchange-traded funds. Each one has its pros and cons. Let me break it down for you. Physical silver, this is the real deal. You own the actual metal. Nobody can take it away from you. It is not dependent on any company staying in business or any financial system functioning properly. If the whole system falls apart, you still have your silver. That is powerful. But physical silver has some drawbacks. You have to store it. You have to insure it. You have to pay a premium when you buy it, and you take a discount when you sell it. The spreads can eat into your returns. So physical silver is great for wealth preservation for that insurance component of your portfolio, but it is not necessarily the best way to maximize your returns if silver does what I think it is going to do. That is where mining stocks come in. Silver mining companies are leveraged plays on the price of silver. If silver goes up 20%, a well-run mining company stock can go up 50%, 100% or more. Why? Because their costs are relatively fixed. When the price of silver goes up, all that extra revenue falls to the bottom line as profit. The leverage is enormous, but you have to be careful. Not all mining companies are created equal. You need companies with good management, with good assets, with strong balance sheets. You need companies that are actually producing silver, not just exploration companies that are burning cash, hoping to find something someday. I have seen too many investors get burned by putting money into garbage mining stocks just because they are cheap. Cheap is cheap for a reason. You want quality. Now, exchange-traded funds, these can be a good middle ground. You get exposure to silver without having to worry about storage. You get liquidity. You can buy and sell easily, but you need to understand what you are buying. Some silver funds hold physical silver. Others use derivatives. Read the prospectus. Understand what you own. And remember, with an exchange-traded fund, you do not actually own the silver. You own shares in a fund that owns silver. There is counterparty risk there. Let me tell you about timing because this is critical. A lot of people wait for confirmation. They wait until everyone else is buying. They wait until the price has already moved, and then they jump in at the top and wonder why they lose money. That is not how you invest. You invest when you have done your homework, when you understand the fundamentals, and when the market has not fully recognized the opportunity yet. That time is now. Silver is still under the radar for most investors. Yes, there are people talking about it, but the big money has not poured in yet. Institutions are not overweight silver. Retail investors are not rushing into silver shops. This is the time to build your position. Not when it is on the front page of every financial publication. Not when your neighbor is talking about it at a barbecue. Now, when you can still get in at reasonable prices. I want to address something that concerns a lot of people: volatility. Silver is a volatile asset. It can swing up and down dramatically in short periods of time. If you cannot handle that volatility, if you are going to panic and sell when it drops, then silver is not for you. But if you understand that volatility is the price you pay for the potential of outsized returns, if you can look at a 20% drop and see it as a buying opportunity rather than a disaster, then you can make serious money in silver. The key is position sizing. Do not put your entire portfolio into silver. That is stupid. That is gambling. What you want is a meaningful allocation that can make a difference if you are right, but that will not destroy you if you are wrong. For most people, I would say somewhere between 5 and 15% of your investable assets in precious metals makes sense depending on your risk tolerance and your conviction. Personally, I'm at the higher end of that range because I am very convicted about this trade based on the patterns. Let me talk about what could go wrong because I always want to give you both sides. What could derail the silver thesis? Well, if we get massive deflationary collapse, if the economy completely falls apart and industrial demand dries up, that would be bad for silver in the short term. But even in that scenario, the monetary aspect of silver would likely kick in as people flee to safety. Another risk is technological substitution. If someone invents a material that can replace silver in solar panels or electronics at a much lower cost, that would reduce demand. But I have been watching this space closely, and I do not see that happening anytime soon. Silver's properties are unique. It is very hard to replace. The other risk is government intervention. Governments have confiscated gold in the past. Could they do it with silver? It is possible, but I think it is unlikely with silver because so much of it is tied up in industrial use. You cannot just confiscate silver without crippling your manufacturing sector. So while there are risks, and there are always risks with any investment, I think the risk-reward on silver right now is extremely favorable. The upside is massive. The downside is limited. That is the kind of setup I look for. Now, let me tell you what I am watching to confirm that this thesis is playing out. I am watching the physical premiums. When you see premiums on physical silver start to spike, when you see delays in delivery, when you see shortages, that tells you the market is getting tight. I am watching the mining stocks. When silver mining stocks start to outperform the metal itself, that tells you investors are getting more aggressive, more confident. I am watching the gold to silver ratio. When that ratio starts to compress, when silver starts to catch up to gold, that is your signal that the move is beginning. And I am watching the macro environment. When inflation stays high, when central banks are forced to keep printing, when geopolitical tensions rise, all of that is bullish for silver. Right now, all of these indicators are pointing in the right direction. We are in the early stages of what I believe will be a historic move in silver. But you have to act. You have to make a decision. Are you going to sit on the sidelines and watch, or are you going to position yourself to profit? Here is my challenge to you. Do your own homework. Do not just take my word for it. Go look at the supply and demand numbers. Go look at the deficit. Go look at the industrial trends. Go look at what is happening with currencies around the world. Educate yourself and then make a decision based on facts, based on logic, based on sound investment principles. I am telling you what I see. I am telling you where the data points. I am bullish on silver. Very bullish. And I think the people who act now are going to look back in a few years and realize this was one of the best investment decisions they ever made. But you have to have conviction. You have to be willing to be early. You have to be willing to hold through volatility. Investing is not easy. If it was easy, everyone would be rich. It requires discipline. It requires patience. It requires the ability to think independently and act on your convictions even when the crowd is going the other way. That is what I have done my entire career. That is how I built my wealth, and that is what I am doing with silver right now. So here's what I want you to do. If you found value in this video, if you learned something, if this changed the way you think about silver, I need you to smash that like button right now. It tells the algorithm that this content matters. It helps us reach more people who need to hear this message. I need you to subscribe to this channel if you have not already. This is where I share my best ideas, my best strategies, my real opinions on what is happening in the markets. No nonsense, no sugarcoating, just the truth. And I need you to become a member. When you support this channel, you are supporting independent financial education. You are supporting content that is not beholden to advertisers or sponsors or anyone else. I can tell you what I really think because I do not answer to anyone except you, my audience. Leave a comment below. Tell me what you think about silver. Tell me if you are buying. Tell me if you think I am crazy. I read the comments. I engage with this community. This is not just me talking at you. This is a conversation. We're all trying to get better, to learn more, to make smarter decisions with our money. The opportunity in silver is real. The fundamentals are undeniable. The timing is right, but opportunities do not last forever. Markets move fast. By the time everyone sees what you see, it is too late to get in at good prices. You have to act when you have an edge, when you have information and conviction that the market has not fully priced in yet. I have given you that information. Now it is up to you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being part of this community. Stay smart. Stay disciplined. And remember, money does not sleep, and neither should your commitment to building wealth. Now go take action.